Have you ever felt trapped in a legal battle with a former partner that just never seems to end? Every time you think you're finally done, another motion gets filed, a brand new accusation gets thrown at you, and you're dragged right back into that same cycle of stress, of control. It's this painful, completely exhausting experience where the very system that's supposed to bring justice feels like it's being used as a weapon against you.
If that sounds even a little bit familiar, I really want you to hear this. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. What you're experiencing is real. It has a name, and it is absolutely a recognized tactic of control. It's called legal abuse.
Okay, so let's really get into this, because you can't fight back against something until you can name it, right? So in this first part, we're going to put a clear name and a solid definition to this invisible weapon.
So what is legal abuse really? Well, here's the most important part. This isn't just a messy or complicated court case. It's the intentional misuse of the legal system, on purpose, as a weapon. The abuser's goal isn't really to get justice. It's to keep the fight going, to cause harm, and to hold on to that control long after the relationship is supposed to be over. It's a very calculated form of abuse.
This chart really lays out the night and day difference. You see, a legitimate legal action is all about finding a resolution. It has a finish line. But with legal abuse, there is no finish line. The process itself is the punishment. The entire goal is to trap you in this endless cycle of conflict, to just completely drain you, emotionally and financially, with claims that have no basis in reality. It's weaponizing the very rules that are supposed to protect people.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it often hides in plain sight, disguised as just normal legal stuff. And that's what makes it so sneaky and so hard to call out. So in this next section, we're going to look at the specific tactics that abusers use.
This table kind of breaks down the playbook. And it's never just one thing, it's a combination. You've got procedural harassment, which is basically death by 1,000 paper cuts. Just endless, pointless motions designed to bleed you dry of time and money. Then there are false reports, filed not because there's a real concern, but just to wreck your reputation. And discovery abuse, that's not about finding evidence, it's about invading your privacy, demanding your personal therapy notes, stuff like that, purely to intimidate you.
And that right there brings us to the key insight. Look, one single frustrating motion from an ex, that's not legal abuse. It's the relentless, escalating pattern of behavior. It's using all these different tactics over and over and over again. That's what turns the system from a tool for justice into a weapon of control.
And this timeline shows you exactly how that pattern plays out. It often starts fast, right after a separation, with quick motions to try and get the upper hand. Then it escalates, dragging things out for months, sometimes years, with all those repetitive filings. And in the worst cases, it becomes entrenched, spreading outside the family court to other agencies, creating just years and years of systemic harassment.
Okay, so that is the problem. And I know it can feel completely overwhelming. But knowledge is power. And you know what else is power? Documentation. So let's pivot now to the solution. How do you actually fight back when the abuse is hidden inside official-looking court documents? You create a record so clear, so undeniable, that the pattern becomes impossible for anyone to ignore.
And this is the real challenge, isn't it? Because each individual action is designed to look reasonable on its own. A motion here, a request for documents there, but when you start connecting the dots, a totally different picture emerges. The key to showing everyone that picture is to meticulously document every single action and, just as importantly, its impact on you. This is your toolkit for taking back control. Step 1, you log everything on a timeline. This shows the relentless frequency. Step 2, save every single piece of communication. This can help reveal their intent. Step 3, track every single cost to prove the financial damage. And finally, back it all up somewhere safe. Trust me, this isn't just organizing paperwork, it's building your case, piece by powerful piece.
So what exactly goes into this evidence folder? Everything. Literally everything. Download every court filing, write down every police report number, save every single bill and receipt from your lawyer. Each document is like a piece of a puzzle, and when you organize them all in order, they stop being just individual items, and they start telling a clear story, a story of a systematic pattern of abuse, a story that a judge can finally see and understand.
Documenting is such a powerful first step, but you absolutely do not have to go through any of this alone. So in this last section, let's talk about the immediate steps you can take to find safety and get the right kind of help, both legal and emotional.
So what can a court actually do to make this stop? Well, there are specific legal tools, though they can vary depending on where you are. Courts can issue sanctions, which is basically a legal penalty. They can force the abuser to pay your attorney's fees for wasting everybody's time. In really extreme cases, a person can be declared a vexatious litigant. Now, this is a huge step. It's where a judge officially says, yes, I see the pattern of harassment, and they can actually restrict the abuser from filing anything new without the judge's permission first. You need a good lawyer who gets this stuff, but it's so important to know these options exist.
And I really need to hammer this point home. Legal abuse is a safety issue. The constant stress, the fear, the harassment, it's a form of psychological abuse, and it's often tied to other kinds of control. Creating a safety plan with a domestic violence advocate is every bit as critical as your legal strategy.
If you're going through any of what we've talked about today, please know that help is available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is a free, confidential resource, and they're there for you 24/7. They can help you with safety planning and connect you with resources right in your area. You can call them at 1-800-799-7233. Again, that's 1-800-799-7233. Or you can visit their website at thehotline.org.
Let's end on this thought, because it is so powerful. When you document everything, you're building a case on a record of cold, hard facts. It's no longer just a he said, she said argument. You are giving the court a clear, undeniable pattern of behavior. And that is the most fundamental step you can take to reclaim your own story and fight for real justice.
And that really brings us to our final thought. The whole idea of the legal system is to protect people, right? It's supposed to be a shield. But when it can be twisted and used as a weapon, it forces us to ask a really tough question. What needs to change in the system itself so that our courts are trained to see legal abuse for what it is and protect survivors? How do we make sure justice always serves as the shield it was meant to be?